This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Marula Mining have announced plans to commence a maiden 2,000-metre diamond drilling programme in Q1 next year at its Nyorinyori and NyoriGreen Graphite projects in Tanzania. Well, joining us today to talk about this and other recent news from the company is, of course, CEO Jason Brewer. Jason, how are you doing?
I'm very well, Mark, very well. And happy Christmas to you. You're looking very festive.
Yes, well, thank you. It's only a few days to go until we do sort of wind up for Christmas. So, I thought I'd do something a little bit different than the norm. But let's just talk about some of the news here. There's been a bit of a flurry of news. And before we just go into the details on Nyorinyori here, I see, of course, you sort of put to one side or, not continuing with a number of different projects here and focusing on some of the projects that I guess you feel have the more sort of near-term potential. So just give us a bit of context around some of this sort of, let's say, streamlining, restructuring of the portfolio here at Marula.
Yeah, and it's I guess it's a focus, if you want to use a key word. 2025 for Marula is all going to be about production, revenue generation, cash flow. And whilst we have been involved in a number of projects in various jurisdictions, as we've advanced them, and as we've advanced some of the other projects, it's very clear that particularly in respect to Blesberg, in respect to Canusi and the Nyorinyori projects, those projects have far surpassed what we initially expected them to be. And as a result of that, our focus is very much going to be on maximizing the revenue generation from each and every one of those. So we've kind of put on the back burner or withdrawn our interest from a few projects. And I think this focus is necessary if we're really going to start delivering from Q1 all the way through 2025.
Okay, so 2025 is all about getting projects into small-scale operations and scaling up.
Not just small scale, but larger scale. Blesberg, as we move in the second half of the year to the Chinese joint venture, the lithium sulfate leaching plant to produce high-value products. Canusi, as we progress through the initial 2,500 tons per month of kind of concentrate production to the second half of the year to producing cathode. And second half of the year, 2025, obviously producing out of the Nyorinyori projects. And also throughout 2025, the increased production on the manganese, both out of Larasoro, but also out of the Kilifi ones. So, yeah, it's one of maximizing revenue generation at the end of the day for us now.
Okay, good. And on Nyorinyori then, so this program you've said is going to explore the graphite mineralization over about 1.2 kilometers of the surface exposure there with widths of up to 120 meters. So what's the main objective of this program that's being planned for Q1?
Look, what it's done, clearly the sampling work which we did earlier was focused on that 1.2 kilometer stretch of a broader, larger 3 kilometer strike length, which remains open in all directions there, north, south. So the drilling is really going to be testing the depth extents of them, and it's going to allow us to do larger scale metallurgical test work. And it's also going to be clearly focused on defining a JORC compliant resource, which we'll use as part of the study work to optimize exactly what product we're going to be producing and in what sort of volumes there.
Right, okay, good. And this is all sort of costed and funded for already?
All costed. We actually had the exploration budget approved very early this year, but our focus on Canusi and on the manganese here has really kind of diverted some of those funds to these activities. We're now in a position where, look, we've seen what some of the neighboring small-scale operations are doing up there around Nyorinyori, effectively producing a DSO product, getting good value for that, but clearly demonstrating that that product is something which should be mined and should be done in a relatively short time frame. We've got to do the study work, not just to define just how big an operation we've got there, but to actually, like I say, maximize revenue from a product point of view. The jumbo flake focus, which gives you your maximum earnings.
Okay, and the plan is to get this sort of producing on a small scale open pit operation, well, by the end of the first half, so by the end of June next year.
Yeah, look, we're very fortunate Mark, with Tequila Mining and NyoriGreen Mining, we've managed to secure and consolidate quite a significant area there with 35 granted mining licenses. So we have the licenses in place, the permits, authorizations, and approvals that will allow us to get and start those initial mining activities. We clearly need to do that work, and we're going to accelerate that work. And look, I'm certainly looking forward to getting back up there to Moshi and to see these licenses, because these projects have got a bit of a sweet spot for me, because when I first saw it, just really liked it significantly.
Good. So I just was remembering something that Quinton said, and someone, I think one of your shareholders, commented this morning in Telegram. It was about Quinton saying, you look at all the prospects, then you concentrate on the ones which are the quickest to and turn the best profit, and concentrate on them in that order. And as you've explained, this is sort of what's going on here. So just to get an idea, a snapshot, if we like, of Marula Mining here in the project, going into next year, it's all about production. So let's just go through what are the producing assets and what's going to be the producing assets throughout the course of next year.
Look, we've clearly got Knusi and Knusi Copper Mine up there in Tanzania. We are finalising the contracts now for the sale of those initial shipments. And we've got 4 contracts, which are newly appointed commodity sales and offtake consultant, Richard Hawkin, he's already approved 2 of them, and he's reviewing the other 2 now. So Knusi, you'll have the initial sales there, moving in the first half of next year to 2,000 to 2,500 tonnes of the concentrate. And then with the installation of a cathode plant, an SXEW plant, producing cathode in the second half of next year. And we're typically looking at about an initial rate of 1,000 tonne a month of copper cathode. That production level has been set by the available power in that region. So we haven't allocated major capital to basically increase the power generating capabilities in that region. But clearly, Knusi deserves more than just producing at those levels. So that's the one there. We have the Larasoro manganese mine here in Kenya, where we've been doing a lot of work on that mine, a lot of preparation, opening up the pits, joining the pits up, where from the beginning of next year, you will be doing that initial 5,000 tonnes per month of production, rising hopefully to between 10 and 20,000 tonnes. Let's be cautious and say 10,000. At Kilifi, the manganese plant there, there's some optimization work which our metallurgical consultants have suggested that we implement. That's being implemented now. So very early in the first quarter, we'll be producing an initial 10,000 tonnes per month of sales, which will be exported through Mombasa Port, which is only located 60 kilometres away from the operation. So you have that there. Blesberg, you're going to have a multi-product suite coming out of there. The spodumene, which has been stockpiled in anticipation of the lithium sulfate plant. The feldspar, where we've been finalising the offtake arrangements for that there. And the niobium and tantalum. There's been a lot of work done on optimising the Rados plant there for the niobium and tantalum, which has been identified in that area. We have the mining contractor, which we've been finalising his contract to be appointed late in January, commencing February, and that will allow bigger volumes to go through there. So, and in addition to that, we'll obviously be treating material from the NCLT projects, and on NCLT, there's the tantalum and tungsten. So I think I've covered them all there, Mark. There's quite a few different commodities being produced, which gives, I guess, a good balance of risk. You know, you've seen certain commodities fall dramatically over 2024. Lithium is a clear example of that. But you've seen other commodities rise quite spectacularly as well. You've seen, tungsten, which is one of the most critical minerals, certainly reported by the US and by other regions such as the EU and so on. So having that multi-commodity mix from different jurisdictions, I think will give us a nice stable cash flow as we move forward over 2025.
Good. And what's it like at the moment then in the sort of African region as we approach the Christmas holidays? Are you able to get that shipment out? I think it's anticipated from Knusi before Christmas, or is that going to slip into the new year now, do you think?
No, we're very hopeful that we'll get that out. I mean, Tanzania it's been closing down for Christmas over the past week. So that's always a frustration there. We're due to get the assay results on the samples which went to South Africa. Those samples were split into two. Half of them went to the laboratories at SGS. We're supposed to receive them on Thursday. They'll be incorporated into the final contracts. We'll obviously announce those, and then we'll get moving on that. And logistics-wise, logistics in Africa never slows down. It's constantly moving, so that's not a problem. The party for which the first initial 150 tons is going to, and that's the smallest out of the 4 shipments, they want to pay by the end of the year. So I'm pushing to have that done. So Richard is updating the contract as we speak. I'm chasing assay results, and we're dealing with logistics groups and other groups at Dar es Salaam, at the port, where that's going to be delivered.
Okay, good. Well, hopefully we can see some more news then before we finish up the year. And of course, just as we do finish up the year here, you've obviously been doing some Christmas shopping. I know shareholders were keen to see you buy some shares in Marula, and you've gone and done that recently.
Yeah, I've picked up about 2.25 million shares in Marula over the past 8 or 9 weeks. I announced a number more, 500,000 acquisition just yesterday. There's more that are going to be announced. I've got approval to buy more through the board, so that's going to happen. It's good value. It's crazy value. It's ridiculous value as far as I'm concerned at these levels. And obviously, I'm one of the largest shareholders in the company, so I see an opportunity. It hates me to see an opportunity. Let me speak honestly. I prefer, I'm buying shares now at 4.5 pence when I really should be paying, north of 10 pence. But the market dictates, and there's a number of things which we have to deliver on in 2025 to push that price back up there and to new highs as well.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for your time, Jason. We will be around over the Christmas period. If you do indeed get some news out, we can, of course, facilitate you coming onto Stockbox. But if not, happy Christmas, and we'll catch up on the next bit of news.
Mark, many thanks, and I hope you guys at Stockbox have a great Christmas too.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.